Oh. Ah. Oh.
Roll Goal was the most fun I had in Twilight Princess. I don't remember that one. In fairness, the last time I played Twilight Princess was... Oh no, I never finished the HD remake, so technically the last time I played Twilight Princess was back in my days of speedrunning story, so I probably never played that minigame. I know there was a fishing minigame as well, which I never played either. Trust me, there's a lot of things I did differently back before I started streaming. I never did 100% previously. Board game is Fishing Hut. The board game in the Fishing Hut was Roll Goal. Oh, okay, I don't know.
Ah.
Opal. Oh, wait, I can check my inventory from there. Right, okay. I'm gonna have to sell a bunch of gemstones after this, aren't I? Fun. Well, nothing says a fantastic stream like sitting here and doing the same repetitive task after and after and after and after. It's like I'm back in work. Right. I don't know whether to curse or bless Kingdom Hearts. Also, cheers, Earthart. Thank you.
Oh.
Wife of the moment, Belle Dandy, Am I Goddess? Only because Kev made me watch the first 2 episodes of the 1993 OVA of it, and it was good. I enjoyed it very much. I forgot how much I love Am I Goddess. I forgot to check my inventory there. No, I won't. Did you get the server working, by the way? Oh! No. No, the problem with that server that I was complaining about on Discord is it's a machine learning server. And the problem is that when I first designed her, I was a network technician. I didn't do anything with building machine learning servers. My first 2 weeks on the job, actually, was basically stood in a freezing cold server room trying to make a server do machine learning. That was the first generations of the server. The problem I didn't realize is that with machine learning, it does a lot of read and writes to the disk. And unfortunately with an SSD, whereas a spinning hard drive will read and write forever and ever and ever and ever, or at least it will for a long time, an SSD has a certain amount of read-write cycles. So if you're doing a machine learning experiment on an SSD, you're doing a lot of read-write cycles, and eventually the SSD just goes. And the SSD went. So I am now in the process of trying to patch up one of our workhorse machine learning server, which has been dead for a while now, in an attempt to get it back into active service, but it doesn't want to play ball because whenever I try and install Linux server on it, the installer crashes. So yes, I've gone back to the head of department now and asked, can I please buy this M.2 drive to fix the server? And he said, yes, do what you need to. So I'm going to do what I need to. So yeah, they'll get there. To be honest, we're working at the minute of setting up a, me, senior technician, so I'm basically doing all the work, is setting up a high-powered cluster. Which is going to be brilliant. In theory, and it's going to solve a lot of headaches and make my life a lot easier once it's finally installed, but the stress of trying to get it installed on top of all my other duties is certainly rather high. That's the thing I'm missing most, I must admit. Sorry, this is an Ezio ranting session, but the thing I must admit most I'm missing, though I appreciate my rise in rank, I'm not enjoying the fact that I'm now basically a spreadsheet monkey, and I'm basically sat there writing reports and spreadsheets rather than going down to my server room and tinkering with the servers all day. Hopefully, after a while, I will get back to that, but for the moment... Oh, check your inventory. Too late. I'll do it again in a minute. So is this why big network servers tend to still use hard drives made for mass writing? Pretty much. In machine learning and industry systems, what you'll have is an SSD. Sorry, I'll try and. I'd like to wave my hands around when I'm explaining these things. What you'll have is a hard drive for the archival of the data, the main bulk storage, but you'll have an SSD cache. So in my home lab, for example, I've got two 8 terabyte servers bound together. Well, two 8 terabyte servers on an unraid server. So they're working in a sort of RAID 0. It isn't RAID 0, but it's the way Unraid does it. So those two disks are where all my data is stored, working in a 16 terabyte RAID with a 8 terabyte parity, which is a hot spare, basically. If one of the two disks in the RAID dies, the hot spare kicks in and saves the data. However, because hard drives write so slowly, what you have is an SSD cache. So when you write your data, it goes into the SSD cache, and then the SSD cache writes to the hard drives. That's how you can keep SSD speeds while also maintaining the integrity of the data by doing a lot of read-write cycles. What I did was, I'm an idiot, and in our workhorse machine learning server, we were doing all of the read-write cycles on the SSD, and the hard drives were in a RAID, but they were just an archival data where the end users had to manually copy their data to, which they didn't, because of course they wouldn't. It's it's a RAID and an archive. They want to do everything in their home directories and just never archive anything. So yeah, that's where it all goes. That's where it all went a bit weird. But you live and you learn, and I've certainly learnt the lessons. But in fairness, the server worked for a good few years, and it did the job. It proved that we could do machine learning, and it got me the rather large sum of money required to get the cluster up and running, and now I very much have it on me to make sure that we actually put it into fair use. Alright, that's 24. Feels very aggressive saying "you fool" is not a redeem. Oh, don't worry, I don't worry about that. If you start swearing at me, I'll get a bit annoyed, but other than that, right, 24. Hold on, I need to break out the calculator again. I mean, let's face it, now is the best time to start asking me tech questions, because let's face it, I don't need to focus too heavily on the game. 75 divided by 3 equals 25. So technically by the end of this, we will have enough to finish the upgrade of the wind set, but we still need 60 opal to upgrade the Zora armor. Oh, this misery. But at least it's a consistent misery, whereas I don't have to worry about finding random drops. Yeah, I've seen setups with 10 to 15 hard drives with SSDs of some kind of controller. A bit of excessive for me personally, but trying to learn just in case I need to make my own company and need backups. Ezio, you're a build rat. Well, you know. Oh, doing backups. That is the bane of my existence. At the moment, I'm currently trying to get my hands on some 10-year-old JBODs, which I can then use to put together a backup system. Because with the JBODs, they can hold 16 hard drives, and then if I can get my hand enough funding for 20 terabyte disks, then by the end of it, I could have a petabyte of storage that I could use. There's a whole bunch of complexities with this, but yes, it's... SSD cache is a good way. For archival backups, you want just hard drives, straight up hard drives, because at the end of the day, you're running backups overnight when nobody's working. It doesn't matter if the writing's slow, so long as it's able... The first backup will be a pain in the neck, but if you're then only writing the changes to the data, you're fine. So long as you make sure that you've got scrubbing enabled. Not scrubbing, is it scrubbing or trimming? I forget the official term. It's one of the two. If you want, let me know and I'll fire you a video, an LTT video I remember on it. But basically, it's doing a data trim every so often means that you don't get data rot, because even on a hard drive, the data is secure, but over time the bits will degrade, so you need the system to go in and just refresh the bits every so often to make sure the data stays the data integrity remains. And that's the case of the backup. So the first backup would take ages, and then you just run the changes to the backup every night. You could run it to the cloud, but obviously that's at a monthly cost, so you have to then weigh up, well, do I want on-house backup or do I want it in the cloud? Technically in the cloud it's somebody else's problem, but like I said, that comes at cost, whereas in-house it's fine. It's expensive as an upfront, but at least you've got it there. But if the building burns down, you're screwed. So in my previous employ, we had a system where basically a technician, usually me, had to go into the server room every day or every other day. I can't quite remember. And you basically unplugged all of the hard drives. We had a bunch of external hard drives plugged into the back of the servers. You unplugged all of the external hard drives, stuck them in a bag, took them off down a couple of streets to a secondary office we had, put them in a locked filing cabinet, took a bunch of discs from the locked filing cabinet, brought them back to the headquarters and plugged them all back into the servers, and that's how we worked our backup routine. Was it perfect? Probably not, but it was a backup routine. So it's one of those things. Or tapes. Tape backups are brilliant. IBM use tape backups. If you can afford a tape backup system, do it. Tapes are useless for quickly accessing your data because the tape has to scroll backwards and forwards. But if you've not got a stupid amount of data, or you have a lot of money, then the tapes are brilliant because you can just write all the data to the tapes and they will last for years. And it's a fairly cheap medium. And if you, after a while, you can just go, well, I don't want to keep, after like 2 years, you go, well, we don't need 2 years of backup, so we'll just reuse the tape and then replace it. Tape is still a fantastic thing. IBM does indeed still exist. Shocking, I know, but it does still exist. I ended up chatting when I was in university with an IBM representative. Nearly went for a job with them, but it meant I had to move to London and I didn't fancy it. Also, do people still defrag? Not so much these days. Mainly because... I should probably get back to farming, actually. Not so much these days, mainly because SSDs you should never defrag because it just wastes read-write cycles. And also, modern Windows operating systems do a fairly good job of putting your data in the right place. You don't need to defrag anymore. Sometimes, maybe, if you're running on an old hard drive, but for the most part, nah, that's a completely useless thing now. Still exists in Windows, but in fairness, there's a lot of things in Windows that still exists, apart from 3D pinball, much to my annoyance. I hate IBM. They ruined the first stream service I used called Ustream. Well, fair enough. I sort of miss all the old big servers with tapes whirling back and forth. You still get big servers with tapes rolling back and forth, but they're cassettes rather than the big spindly things that go back and forth. And by the way, before anyone mentions it, no, the types of servers where you type into a terminal and then it spits out text, they still exist. It's called Linux Server and I use it quite a lot. Only difference is that when I type into it, it's on a screen, rather than I type into a typewriter and then it prints out a line of text on a ream of paper. What you fool? Here's I thought. Right. The thing is, with going into the cloud, the cloud is the IT manager's dream, because you basically fob off all of the complicated security and hardware stuff to a third party. It's nowhere near as fun, however. That's the problem. I just remember the days of defrag being super important. Yeah, it's not as important these days. Also, take a swig of whiskey. Fair enough. Hoodlum. And cheers. Nearly at the last of the whiskey I inherited from my grandmother. Highland Park, by the way. Very nice. Oh, that's 26. Blimey, I've talked for that long.
Oh.
Ah, well. Right. I'm going to beg you here, but can you please, please, please take the E out of the whiskey on redeem? Yes. Yes, I can. Give me a minute. I didn't realise that was the description I put on that, by the way. Get Ezio drunker. Do you really want that? I can think of everyone in the chat saying yes. There we go. The E has been removed from whiskey. Don't even know why I put it in there, but there we go. Good lady. Cheers to your grandmother. Cheers to Granny indeed. Right. Yes, let's just skip to drunk. Double cross. Ah, I feel so loved. Bonk. Hey, I actually hit the bell. I didn't think I'd make it that time. Thank God I'm probably the only person this is bugged because Scottish, but yeah, whiskey doesn't have an E in it. I don't know why I got the E in the whiskey. What's this one? No, I don't know where I got the E from. Is it how the Americans spell it? Where's our resident American? Spawn! Spud, where are you? Alright. Can you put the E back in whiskey? Give over.
Oh.
America as it is whiskey. I use the American spelling. There we go. That explains that then. Which isn't surprising when you think about it, because even though I'm from the UK, I do spend a fair whack of time using American English, because I work in IT. If you're talking about a drink that's been made in Scotland, Canada, or Japan, use the spelling without the E. Whiskey. There we go. Problem solved. Most of the stuff I drink is from Scotland, Japan, sometimes England, I guess. I don't think I've ever had a Canadian whiskey, come to think of it. Most of it's Scottish or Japanese. I've had a Welsh whiskey. Had English whiskey. That's about it, really. Bonk. As long as you know the difference between ass and arse, Ezio, I might forgive you. Why, thank you. Good, Bennett. Yes, I do. Maybe, possibly. Oh, balls if I know at this point. I'm just going to sit here and continue farming opal. You're spelling rum wrong in your redeem. That's shocking, considering I don't drink rum. I can't remember the last time I drank rum. I think I've only ever had it like twice in my life. Once, maybe. No, it's not one I really drink. I think I've only had vodka about once as well. I asked for a Coke when I was on a night out and somebody decided to give me a cup of vodka and Coke instead. Still the dessert wine. What are you doing with that? Oh, that. I loved my grandmother, I really did, but I cannot stand her tasting wine. It is... The dessert wine, I believe, is still mostly in the conservatory downstairs. too sweet. I don't like sweet wine. I'm really not a fan. Unspecified spirit, you fool. Ah, that was not a redeem, though, last... That was not a redeem, though, Kev. I'm going to say last Kev continue, then. I was just like, oh, that's wrong. Ah. Japan is in Asia. Yes, the Pope is also Catholic. Oh, hold on. Canada and Japan don't use E because of how closely the making of it is to Scotland. Japan and Asia love Scotch, so Japan wanted to make it as close as possible. No, I point out that Japan would probably make it as close to Scotland as possible because Scotland's famous for whiskey and the Japanese are perfectionists. But there we go. I probably do like sweet wine. Fair enough. If you enjoy it, you enjoy it. I'm not a big fan. Also, we must now pause and give praise and hail to the unspecified spirits of this world, nay, not the lost souls who have wandered off into the great beyond, nay, not the souls who have yet to arrive, but my friends know the true, the great, the wondrous, that being the mighty alcohol. Yes, my friends, as decreed by the mighty Saint Kevin of last minutes have continued. And our noble prophet Gary, who stands twixt the vending machines of Night City, dressed in beanie and bin bag. My friends, we must take pause. Remember the whiskey. Remember the rum. Remember all Scots and all Scotches, all bourbons and all rums, all vodkas and all moonshine. Yes, my friends, we must remember these noble drinks, for is it not true that the great techno-necromancers once said, to the werewolves, begone, you scourges! You drink only your fruity drinks of mocktails. You are nay but knaves, and must now be banished off into the reaches of Pluto forevermore. And so the vampiric overlords nodded in approval as the werewolves dispersed to the outer reaches of the solar system, never again to see the light, the glory that bees, the glory that is. Yes, my friends, the glory that is, that beseeches upon us the great words, the words of power, the words of might, the words of Alpha! Sure! There we go. Right. That was a redeem. If only you could get alcoholic cider right. I like Magners. Does that count? What was I doing? Oh yes, I was looking for things. Good job there's no timer on this.
You're spending a long time with that, Coral. Are you okay, brother?
Yes, I'm fine. I'm just completely ranting about Alpha Centauri and vampiric overlords and techno-necromancers.
That's okay then, brother. Coral.
We're at 30. I'd say we're halfway there, but we're not. Gordon Bennett. Hold on, give me a minute. Don't need that, don't need that, don't need that. I need that. Okay. So, this is the staple of a truly great game when you actually have to use math to try and work out what the dickens you're doing. 30 plus 25. I need 85 opal then. I could have worked that in my head, but I'm too lazy at this point. So, if I really put the gears up... Oh, no, bugger off. If I put the gears on and I literally just gun this for the next half an hour, I might be able to get there, considering I can probably do this about one opal a minute. But still. Wait, no. One opal a minute gets me 35. That 30. Oh, Gordon Bennett. Math was never my strong suit in school. Hopefully you realise this by now. I can just hear laughter in the background, and I'm not sure who it's coming from. Right.
Oh, ah. Oh.
You know what? You know what? To save my sanity on this, because this is easy enough for us to get back to, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use 25 of these opal, and I'm going to finish the wind set. Because then, I just have to focus on the 60 I need for the Zora set. And the Zora set, I'm willing to put the effort into because that includes the Zora tunic, and as we know from Breath of the Wild, that was Link's engagement ring to Mipha. And that is what we're going to do. I don't care what the Z-Link fans say. As far as I'm concerned, Link and Mipha were destined for each other in Breath of the Wild, and he ended up with Zelda in this game after the fact, because Mipha is dead. There's no getting around that. She unfortunately did pass on in the previous game. What can I say? I'm a shipper at heart. You... Do I have enough? Yes, I have. Oh, no, I do. Yes, okay, I do. If Ezio was a golden girl, he would be Dorothy. Tall and very sarcastic. Thank you? A weird turn chat has taken this evening, but there we go. Apparently, I am Dorothy from the Golden Girls. Just as I am Pike from Dad's Army, according to some. I can upgrade something else. Also, that's the wind set done, right? Rousers of the Wind, done. App of the Wind, done. Tunic of the Wind, done. I can take them off the list and I can finally be happy. Well, as happy as I can be. Wind, delete. Save. Awesome. Okay. Wait, what? Sure. Right, I can't do nought with them, but at least I'm up to the final point on the Trousers of the Wild. I need Nadrahorn. Can I have 2 Nadrahorn? Oh, for the love of criminy... Really? Alright. Fine. Well, nothing says fun like more work. Okay, so what can I upgrade? I can upgrade those, but I'm not going to because I'm still missing 3 electric Lazophos. More horns! Yes, yes. We're running very close to just needing to farm dragon components. That's basically it. As far as it goes, technically, I'll dupe glitch the Zonai construct stuff. I'll use the farming method that we've just found for the opals, but yeah, for the most part, we're nearly there. Yeah, that's the only reason we can still access this menu is those. And 5-star fragments, yeah. Well, star fragments are easy to farm. We can just use the tower method for that. Right, back to the top of the Colosseum then.